A Hat in Time is probably one of the best 3D platformer games of the century. You thought Mario was good? Get that out of here. We out here in 2018 and... Wait, what? Wait, what? What do you mean it's not 2018? It's 2020? What the f... Alright, the Steam gods have finally blessed us again with another glorious winter sale. And I finally decided to take my time to get a Hat in Time. Hey, come on, that joke. No! It's been 2 years since a Hat in Time released, and I'm so glad that I was that broke enough that I couldn't get it. Cause after 2 years, the game has so much more content to offer, and the charm still holds up. So, without further ado, let's get on with this Hat in Time review in 2020. Alright, so this is a pretty good intro, aside from my computer lagging at the most Alright, I'm not gonna lie, I was fairly impressed. This is probably one of the best intro sequences I've seen to a platformer game so far. It's doing a really good job introducing these characters to us. And same with the menu select screen. The Hat Kid pops in the frame and we are met with the eye candy that is this menu. And do you hear that music? I'm gonna have to admit, only a little bit of time was spent listening to his music. It's pretty good. So Hat in Time story. You either get to play as Hat Kid or Bow Kid. If you play as Hat Kid, it basically means you're a glorified loser, you're gonna get shot when you're older, and you have AIDS. Or you could play Bow Kid, who is infinitely better in every single way. She has a better design, she's stronger, she's faster, and plus, she's blonde. After choosing Bow Kid, you were met with the first hub area of the game, your spaceship. And I'm not gonna lie, this place perfectly captures the childlike mentality of this character. We have a sea of pillows, an indoor slide, and a frickin' Roomba. And not to mention that soundtrack fits perfectly with this hub area. After exploring this area for a bit, you make your way to the front of the ship where you are greeted by the member of the Mafia and he asks you to pay money for being in space. Okay. You obviously decline because ain't nobody trying to pay that, and tax evasion is fun. Just kidding, pay your taxes. After being upset that a 4-year-old didn't pay him money, he decides to. And you, alongside all your timepieces, are scattered throughout the universe. Now it's up to you, Hat Kid, or Bow Kid, and your slick movement to explore the different worlds, murder everyone that stands in your way, and get those timepieces back. Yeah, that's the whole story. Short and simple, how I like it. And since I'm terrible at transitions, we're gonna cut straight to... Alright, when it comes to level design, A Hat in Time nails it. Every single one of these levels feel like a giant playground to mess around in. Also not to mention the look of them too, with A Hat in Time's art style having a sort of less glossy Wind Waker vibe to it. I don't know how to explain it. It kinda adds to the look of these areas too. And although I hate to admit it, I do get a sort of Mario Sunshine vibe from them. You win this time, you pudgy bastard. There are 4 worlds to explore through, from Mafia Town, Deadbird Studio, where JonTron actually makes into the game.
So big you'll be in debt for years.
Subcon Forest, and the Alpine Skyline. What A Hat in Time does well is that each of these levels will always have you doing something crazy, like beating up Mafia, escaping a crashing train, and selling your soul to become a Fortnite streamer. There are also like mini surprises too. One example would be after infiltrating the Deadbird Studio, you come across this penguin dude who gives you a little ID to doodle on. And since we're all the child of God, we'd only draw mature and holy things like holy sh. And when you head back to the menu select screen, it becomes your save file icon. Forever. It's kinda neat. Then there's this icy level. I'll just let you watch it. And it's locked. What the fuck? What the fuck? It's actually creepy with that. I'm not even gonna lie to you, that dead scared me. Like, who would expect that coming from a game that looks like this? That's another thing about this game, the humor and tone is so strange. Like, one minute you'll be doing a marching band game, the next thing you know you're in a mansion playing a survival horror game. And that shit is dead scary. Bro, look how much the screen is shaking, bro, damn. Dude, what the heck? I'm stuck. Dude, okay, let's go. Come on. Yeah, A Hat in Time can get a little dark, but that's not necessarily bad. It was just strange to see how the game made a complete 180 on its tone. But I think that's what makes it stand out from the rest. Like, look at the art for the level, like, Jesus Christ. Can I just say how beautiful the level art looks for this game? Like, holy crap. Shout out to Jenna Brown because this art looks amazing. Everything is so expressive and it gives everything so much character. And plus, she designed Bow Kid, so she's obviously the best. So what are you doing? Go follow her on Twitter right now. This art can't go unnoticed. What was I saying? Oh yeah. The levels. My favorite level has to be the rainy version of Mafia Town, only because it reminds me of every lo-fi hip-hop I've ever listened to. And that's another thing, this game's soundtrack is absolutely amazing. Here are some of my favorite jams. Alright, let's talk about the characters. And once again, they did an amazing job, not only designing them, but also choosing the right voice actors for them too. Every single piece of dialogue actually sounds pretty good, and they really bring these characters to life. I find it neat how every single person in Mafia Town looks the same, but they all have unique dialogue and interactions. Just look at this one. My favorite character has to be the Snatcher. His voice acting is amazing. And he probably has one of the best boss fights in the game. Speaking of boss fights, I will say that they're actually pretty hard. None of these guys are pushovers, and they'll actually down you a bit if you're not paying attention. But trust me when I say this, these guys will be engraved in your brain. It's kind of cool to see how they interact with Bo-Kid. And on the note of the kid herself, aside from her being one of the best characters in the galaxy, Bo-Kid actually controls like butter. It's so good that I actually crashed my laptop from doing some slick platforming. Or that could just be my trash laptop. But anyway, Bo-Kid's movement ranges from double jumping, air diving, wall climbing, and sprinting. And would you stop that? Like I was saying.
Hold it! Chaos, that's like only 4 moves. How could only 4 moves possibly be enough to make playing levels smooth? Mario Odyssey has way more depth around it.
Silence, Shard. You are no longer allowed to say that name in this house. I get it. Mario's moveset is pretty deep, but that doesn't mean Hat Kid's is worse. Far from it, actually. While you're sprinting around and you lose the ability to double jump, but your jump becomes a bit higher. You won't believe the amount of times I've died thinking I still had a double jump ready. But there is a super secret trick that the gamer gods use. If you time it correctly, you're able to keep the double jump alongside the speed and height of the sprint jump. And after 2 years, I finally realized how hard that shit is. I tried so many times and I only did it once. It's like impossible. I won't go too in depth with the rest of the moves. All you need to know is that she controls like butter. You wanna know what else Mario doesn't have? Hats. Well, he does have this hat, but does he have multiple hats with unlimited power? I don't think so. A hat in time gives you 5 hats to play with. The sprint hat, the brewing hat, ice cap, dweller's mask, and the time stop hat. Each hat offers different ways of playing. The ice cap lets you bounce off of these surfaces. The time stop lets you, stop time. And the dweller's mask lets you see through platforms that look kind of transparent. And every time you step on them, they make this little jingle sound. Then we have the brewing hat, which lets you throw explosive potions. The game does a really good job of utilizing all these hats, but I will say I feel like the ice cap could have been used for something different. Like, come on, do you see how powerful this slam looks like? But yeah, the game always puts these hats to good use, and it never forgets about them. What I do think is the best thing about these hats is that you can choose how you want to play. The game rarely ever forces you to use one hat. And when you do need to use them, you can easily switch between them. And most of these hats are mainly used to get collectibles. So if you wanted, you could run through the entire game with one hat, if you're a fashion person. And speaking of collectibles, you're going to be collecting a lot of these circle thingies. These are pawns. They act as your currency to buy badges. Badges are like augments to Hat Kid. They can range from a magnet for easier pickup, a laser to your weapon, and it changes your sprint into a scooter. They see me rolling. Then you have badges that make the game harder, like the one-hit badge. But don't worry, only people with no lives wear this As you progress through the game and collect timepieces, you'll come across these little portals. These are time rifts. They are essentially those Mario levels in Sunshine. They take you to an abstract world filled with obstacles, accompanied with some really calm music. Then you have the multi-time rifts. These ones have you collect golden pawns as you progress through multiple levels, and there will be these little maps scattered around each of them, and if you collect all of them, it will give you some lore on the characters in that world. And at the end of each minigame, you get to play this little slot machine game which will net you some nice rewards. These usually range from palette swaps, cosmetics, and even music to play on your ship.
Alright, be all ears. We've just been working on this track. It's got that far-out desert dance feel to it.
And if you aren't wearing the dino cap, what are you doing? And the absolute best thing about this game is that you can enjoy the entire experience with another player. The co-op part isn't shoe-in like Mario, it's actually really functional and fits in so well. I had an amazing time playing for my little brother.
What the
hell? Trying to foul this kid's face.
No!
I f***ing give up. Who cares?
He called this fixing.
Give up. It's actually spelled Coochie.
C-O?
Yeah. It was honestly a rejuvenating experience. It kinda sucks how there's not that many co-op games nowadays. And when there is, it's kinda bad. And when you think about it, literally any platformer game could be co-op. It's just nice to see how these developers don't think that all gamers are lonely. So if you thought 2 players was good, how about 4? 18? 35? How about 50? Yeah, you heard me. A Hat in Time lets you play with 50 other people in the lobby. So yeah, that means if for some reason you have 50 friends laying around, you can all play with each other. It does suck that I was unable to experience the 50-player madness, but I was able to interact with some other players. The game will sometimes randomly connect you to other games, so you might come across other Hat Kids. And it was really fun interacting with them. A Hat in Time is an amazing game with so many collectibles and fun levels to run through. Sadly, once you're finished, you're left wanting more. And you can, because now that we're out here in 2020, Hat in Time has 2 new DLCs, Seal the Deal and Nyakuza Metro. The first DLC of Hat in Time was Seal the Deal, so let's start with my experience. This DLC has you taking a vacation on the SS literally never sinks. You can already probably tell what happens. Your job is to take care of the entire ship because the crew are baby seals and are physically and mentally incapable of doing anything. Once again, the voice acting is spot on, and the baby seals do this thing where they replace their R's with W's. I'm pretty sure this would be adorable to others, but for me personally it was quite annoying.
I remember we bought one of those and hid it from the captain.
The level looks good, and the soundtrack reminds you a lot of the Sonic Unleashed Nighttime Spagonia. And yeah, that's about it for the positives. Now the cons. The DLC is very short. Story-wise, it's pretty cliche. You get on the SS literally never sinks, but instead of the iceberg hitting you, you actually crash the ship. You save everybody, the end. Pretty basic Titanic scenario. There are only about 3 missions in this chapter, and this one makes me not want to be alive, because playing this level made me feel like one of these incompetent seals. Notice how I said in the beginning that the level looks good, not how it feels. The design of the ship is so very confusing and I'm constantly getting lost. Almost every door looks the same. I'll find myself entering the same door 3 times! The side of the boat was just one big bruh. Now imagine trying to figure this place out for the first time, but you have a time limit. That's what this mission is. You have to manage the entire ship because these seals are mentally incapable of doing anything. It sounds like a pretty basic concept to complete. Nah, the navigation system in this thing is so weird. Instead of leading you into the nearest completion of the task, it takes you to the nearest task to pick up. So if you haven't mapped out the entire level in your brain, good luck because you're gonna have a lot of items in your hand. And if you don't complete the task in time, his anger meter goes up. Most of my time was spent in red because I didn't know where I was going. But yeah, this level sucks. I personally didn't enjoy it. But after that, the DLC is fine. Once you crash the ship, you save everybody, bada bing, bada boom, you're done. Overall, this DLC is okay. You could have a different experience from me, and I really sure hope you do. The DLC also came with a new game mode called Death Wish. It's basically the story missions cranked up to nightmare mode, and I'm not gonna lie, they're actually pretty fun. It gives the game a whole new level of challenge, and you get some pretty nice costumes out of it too. But overall concept wise, you won't spend as much as an hour in this story mode. It took me about 40 minutes, would have been 30 if I knew where to go, to beat this DLC. Most of your playtime will come from Death Wish, I know mine did. So yeah, the DLC is okay. Next up we have Nyakuza Metro. Now this DLC, this is a step in our direction. Nyakuza Metro is all about neon subways and cats that only eat food and complain about it on Twitter. This DLC starts off with you almost getting hit by a giant cat carrying a subway. Soon after you find yourself upon the Empress, who forces you to join her gang and get timepieces for her. And I really vibe with the whole cat theme. The trains are carried by cats, all the citizens are cats, even the food is cat themed. And they even come with this little dialogue too.
Consuming this drink on a regular basis transforms a kitten to a cat, and a cat to a nervous wreck.
Pretty cool if you ask me. When it comes to level design, this one is an open world. All the levels are interconnected, so that means no loading screens. And the only loading screen you'll ever get is when you get a timepiece. There are new stickers and emotes, and I'm really digging the whole Chinese style music. There are about 10 pieces in Nyakuza Metro, and although some of them are pretty easy to get, it's still longer than Seal the Deal, so yeah. I won't spoil the rest of the DLC, I really want you to experience for yourself. It's way too good to pass up. Overall, I give Nyakuza Metro a Bokid out of Bokid. This DLC slaps. I only have a few problems with the game. Sometimes the cutscene animations can look a bit oof. I don't really like how you have to play through the entire game to unlock Bokid. It would make a lot more sense if you could play her from the start. And to be honest, the camera angle really wasn't that much of a bother to me. There was rarely any times that I was fighting with it. But who knows, it might be different for you. And yeah, that's all Hat in Time has to offer. Overall, it's a pretty good game and I highly— Nah, nigga, you thought that was it? You really think I'd forget about the mod support? I am so glad that they enabled mod support for this game, because it gives us so much more content made by the fans. And holy crap, are there so many well-made mods. The community of Hat in Time have really outdone themselves here. I was genuinely surprised when I played these levels. Some of them look as if they were made by the developers themselves. Just look at these levels. Not to mention new gameplay mechanics and costumes. They added capping in the game for all you Mario losers. You can be Morgana, you can be Joker. Hat-Kid is so customizable. She can dress up as literally anything. You can freaking Fortnite dance. I actually like this one. You thought New Donk City was too small? Well, check this out. New Hat City is even better. So basically, Mario sucks and thank you. If you played Hat in Time and thought that the game didn't have enough content to offer, well, just look at the mods in store, because there are so many good time rifts, chapters, and just more content. And the developers support it by adding weekly challenges too. But there are just so many good ones that it brings a tear to my eye. To me, modding is very important, because it's another form of expression and creativity. You are able to see the beautifully crafted levels by the fans made of your game. It inspires people to make games of their own, and seeing people put passion into a game that they really enjoy really speaks to me. My jaw has dropped so many times because these levels are so well made. This is why games like Little Big Planet 2, Mario Maker, and Skyrim are still played to this day. It's because these games inspire creativity and helps people express their feelings, able to see ideas that you couldn't have seen before. Let's be real here, if these games didn't have modding support, do you really think they'd be played today? It's the fans keeping the game going. It honestly sucks that this game released around Mario and Cuphead. This game has so much potential, and I feel like people dismissed it because it was a Kickstarter. And come on, it's the Mario man. He has a way bigger name than Hat-Kid ever did. But guess what Mario doesn't have? Modding. Doesn't have co-op. Well, good co-op. A Hat in Time will always hold a special place in my heart alongside all these other games. It is a fantastic game and I would recommend it to literally anyone who likes platformers, or are interested in them. The game has loads of content to blast through, and playing with another friend makes it 10 times better. The game has honestly filled that childlike void in my soul, and being reminded of what passion and creativity really is gave me a wake-up call. This is probably the only game that has made me shed a tear of joy. That's because when I put my headphones on for the first time, I realized the music that plays before you pick up a timepiece. I stood there for about 4 minutes in awe. So please, next time there's a sale, I would highly advise that you get this game for your family, your brothers, your friends, or whatever. The game was just too good to pass up. A Hat in Time isn't just a love letter. It's a love essay. Thank you all for making it this far in the video. It means a lot to me that you would sit down and listen to me speak. I worked really hard in this video. I started working on the video in 2019. I want to keep doing more of this. I know I never really asked this, but if you could please subscribe, hit that like button, and share the video around, it would be greatly appreciated. And if you want to play the mods I use, I put them in the description. Thank you. I'll see you all in the next video.